Well, we've been talking about our grief and how we deal with that and how we look to God to deal with that. And Ken has talked in the past about the Psalms and Lamentations, Isaiah, crying out to God to do something. And so I have two sides of a coin, one question or maybe two questions that I think relate to each other that I'd like us to talk about a little bit in this segment. And that is the question that I have had, and I know others have had, is, okay, we're in this mess. Why doesn't God do something? And then the other side of that coin is, what if God is doing something and I don't see it? What does that say about God? What does that say about me? So I don't know how you want to start that.
I'm looking to a theologian on that one.
Oh, goodness.
I guess the illustration that I've used in the past in this kind of time of change is, what if we put ourselves in whatever it was, 586 BC, the destruction of the temple. It's been suggested by some that God had to allow that to happen in order to prepare the nation of Israel for something new, for the coming of the Messiah. What if God is reordering things now? How do we recognize that? If I'm a pastor, if I'm a church leader, if I'm a follower of Jesus, I study the Bible. I do the things that I think, at least historically, I've been taught to do, but I still don't see it. I don't see what he's doing. What is that? How do I get a handle on that, Ken?
Well, I think we walk by faith, not by sight. But in faith in what? Faith in the reality that God is always doing something. And the something that he's always doing is moving us toward the eternal kingdom and the consummation of all things.
Redemption of all things.
That doesn't mean it's a straight road as far as our eyes can perceive. We should have gained that kind of information by this time in history, if not a whole lot earlier. Because you look at human history and you see there's progress here, there's what seems like retrogression with regard to kingdom over there. You look at Ukraine, for example, right now. This is moving towards the kingdom. What gives here? And sometimes I have greater questions about that than even COVID. I think you can look at things as though we are progressing in terms of science and our understanding of the human body, then the environment with all these different viruses and things like that. And I don't see this as something separate from Jesus as the ultimate healer. I think Christ, the Spirit, is there moving science in this direction, but the little twists and turns that it takes along the way, with all the suffering that we've seen, all the death that has occurred, boy, I question that. I don't know. I don't see this path, Lord, but you know what? I don't have to. I can trust that he is going to reach the ultimate goal, and then all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. But not yet.
So can we live with that not yet?
Well, I've kind of wondered, that's paradoxical too, but I've kind of wondered, is God refining the church? And particularly in the West, where, we're individuals in America. You guys aren't old enough, but I remember the advertisement for the Marlboro man. When they were advertising cigarettes. Where's he at? He's out in the rain somewhere by himself.
Self-made man.
With his animals, doing his own thing, kind of thing. And some of that's infiltrated the church, and especially in America, where we have a lot of reliance on our strategies, our intuitions, our resources, all this kind of thing. So COVID comes along, and all of a sudden we can't control anything. And so I guess I just kind of wonder, is this a season where we can recommit to the essentials of our faith, where the real church is going to be revealed, where we're a little less interested in, the consumer aspects of evangelicalism and that kind of thing? I don't know. I'm just asking that question. I think it's an opportunity, though, to recommit to the essentials of our faith. I also wonder about, I thought of the book of Esther when Ken was talking, where God isn't mentioned in the whole book, and there's
Right.
no spiritual
Yes.
activity going on, and yet God was working behind the scenes the whole time. And that's just an amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And his will,
He decided it should be in his book too.
yes, made the canon. I mean, and his will was accomplished.
So is he trying to teach us that that I need to accept that when things are not in my control, they're still well in his control?
We like to control things in America.
We do.
We do.
We do.
And there's a lot of things that we can't control, even though we don't like to admit that. It's
And-
disconcerting to even think about.
Yeah.
The more we progress in terms of our technology and other things, the more we have this illusion that we can control. You can have this life any way you want it. You can be anything you can be.
Yeah.
And then if I can't, then there's either something wrong with me or somebody else out there has made it so difficult for me that I can't, in fact, get what I'm entitled to,
Right.
which is my life, my way.
I love that you used the word entitled. I think we are in an entitled environment.
We're entitled to health.
We're entitled to not suffer.
Mm.
Since when?
And yet, I was just going to say, and yet my agenda is not always God's agenda.
Seldom,
Very true.
unless we're close enough.
Right. So it goes back there to staying close to him, staying connected to him, that sensitivity to his Holy Spirit, spending time with him now.
And even the ability to say, the willingness to say that I could be wrong
Mm.
about where God is going,
Wow.
included.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great point. So it's about faith, walking in faith. When the agendas don't seem to match up, they seem to be banging into each other, but trusting him to know what's best for me, kind of that walking humbly,
Mhm.
realizing that his way is best, even when I don't understand it.
Mhm.
And I can tell you, speaking for myself, and I think for my brothers here, there have been many times in the last few years that it doesn't make sense. But we need to remain faithful.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us again.